Hi VC, it's Rob here with another video, and this is a haul video, stuff I picked up in May. I've not had a chance to show what I've been picking up lately, so this is all stuff from car boot sales, mostly stuff from the 70s, so a little bit different from me. So, first album is this one, Creedence Clearwater Revival. Now, I didn't have anything by Creedence. I watched a documentary about them and got really interested in them. I saw this album for a £5 and thought it was a good starting point. So you know, it's got all the hits on it obviously, but I've been going online and listening to some deep cuts and discovered I really like Creedence. So yeah, I'm looking to pick up more stuff up from them. I was looking at the record fair today, but the stuff was a little bit expensive by them, so I left it alone. But yeah, interesting history with Creedence. Used to be called the Gollywogs. Decided they needed to change that name. Two brothers, Fogerty brothers. John, when he left the band, wouldn't play any Creedence stuff for years and years. Sad story about his brother Tom. Had a blood transfusion and contacted AIDS, and I think he died in the 80s. So yeah. But this is a band I'm going to be getting stuff from because I've kind of discovered it, been a little bit ignorant, and found a band I really like, so really pleased to pick this up. Creedence Clearwater Revival. Now the next album, similar sort of tale really. There's a band, an American band who were huge in the 70s, and I wasn't aware that they actually had two vocalists, one at the beginning of the 70s and one at the 80s, and it's this album, Tallulah Street, by the Doobie Brothers, and this is a nice gatefold. So yeah, I wasn't aware. I mean, listen to the music, it's one of my favourite songs, and I always liked the Doobie Brothers, but of course when I started to get into the music in late 70s, there was so much good music coming out. Didn't really concentrate that much on sort of what was happening in America. Yeah, I mean, these knew how to live the rock and roll lifestyle. Two drummers and a load of lead guitarists. They had their own private jet. You know, they wanted a jacuzzi on it. Travelled around America, huge venues. But the singer Tom Johnson, in the mid-70s, had personal issues, a bit of a breakdown. So, you know, the management and the record company thought it was the end of the Doobie Brothers, but a few contacts in the band, they were aware of Michael McDonald, who was a session musician, and he was playing with Steely Dan, and they got him on board and realised what a great singer he was and what great songs he wrote, and probably the Doobie Brothers were bigger in the late 70s. I do prefer the early Doobie Brothers, but yeah, pleased to pick this up. Doobie Brothers and Tallulah Street. Now, this next album was a bit of a blind buy for me. It's this one. Dave Mason and Split Coconut. And Dave Mason used to be in Traffic. This is another one on CBS, I think. Every album's on CBS today. And yeah. Dave Mason's, you know, he's performed with a lot of big artists from the 70s, George Harrison, Eric Clapton, played with Crosby, Stills and Nash. But I really like this album. I played it, didn't know what to expect. I really like the sleeve, it's only a couple of pounds. There's a lot of different styles on it, and it's a really good album. I'm really pleased I picked this up. So yeah, Split Coconut by Dave Mason. Now, a British band whose albums I've been picking up recently, and here's another one, Squeeze and Cozy Fan Tutti Frutti. And yeah, Squeeze were one of the first bands I got into in the sort of late 70s, but I never really followed up their albums that much. But now I've discovered I can pick their albums up reasonably cheap if I just stay patient, and found this a couple of weeks ago for a couple of pounds. So yeah, it's got the inner with it, and yeah, it's in really good condition. So yeah, please pick this up. Another Squeeze album. Now there's a band who were huge in the 70s, huge, very big band in the 60s, and I've never seen anyone on VC talk about them, so I thought I'd put that right. And it's the Four Seasons and Who Loves You. And I've always quite liked the Four Seasons. I like the 60s stuff and I like the 70s stuff. It's got the inner with it. It's on Warner Brothers. And this has got a great song called Silver Star on it. But yeah, like I say, I mean, it's the film Jersey Boys, and you know, it's in at the West End, and a really successful musical, and I was really pleased to pick this up. So yeah, the Four Seasons. Now this is just an Amazon purchase that I'm just slotting in between all these car boot things, and it's this one, the Inspiral Carpets, and this is just called the Inspiral Carpets, and this is from 2014. It's got the IC on there. And yeah, I mean, the Inspirals have got quite an interesting history. In 1990, when they signed for Mute Records, you know, there was a lot of expectation, and the lead singer Steve Holt left the band. He didn't want to give up his career, and they had to find a new singer, held auditions. Noel Gallagher went along, but they chose a guy called Tom Hindley. But they liked Noel so much that he was a roadie with them for a couple of years, and but you know, sort of you know what bands are like, and Tom and the rest of the band sort of had a bit of a fallout. So the band didn't really do much at the beginning of the 2000s, but then Steve Holt joined the band, and they released this album in 2014, and they've been kind of touring on and off since then. So yeah, really pleased to pick this up, the Inspiral Carpets and the Inspiral Carpets. Now, at the car boot sale last week, the weather hasn't been great in the UK, and if the weather's not good, then the car boots are a bit of a washout. But last week it wasn't great, but I went along just to one car boot, and I was really pleased because I picked some good stuff up. I picked this one up, Weather Report, an 830, and this is a double live album, and the guy had a box of records, and there were no prices, and I asked him about the price for this one, and he said, oh, I want £4 for that, and I thought, well, yeah, I'm happy to pay £4 for it. And another one on CBS. So yeah, this came out in '79. This is my second weather report, but I've actually been at the record fair today and picked another one up, so I'll be showing that soon. Just in the 70s and 80s, I was aware of Weather Report, but I didn't really know what sort of music it was. It's only pretty recently that I've kind of discovered this sort of jazz fusion, and I really like it. So yeah, really pleased to pick this up. Weather Report and 8:30. Now, at the car boot sale, you never know who you're going to bump into, and there was a guy there with a stall, a pretty dishevelled guy, must have been in his 70s, you know, and everything on his stall looked a bit beat up to me, and he had a pile of records, and I wasn't even going to bother looking at them, but I'm glad I did, because he had some good stuff, and they were all 50p, so yeah, pleased to pick this one up. The Manhattans. And this one's from 1976, and again it's on CBS. So yeah, this has got a number 1 on it. It's from '76. Kiss and Say Goodbye. The lead singer does really remind me of Barry White. There's too many ballads on this album. You know, it's not one of those albums that I'm going to be playing on it, you know, forever in a day, but for 50p I thought I'd give it a try. So yeah, please pick it up, the Manhattans. Now, a band from the early 70s who I've got a lot of the stuff, but this album was missing, and it's Roxy Music and Stranded. Very nice sleeve. And yeah, I've got a lot of the early Roxy albums, and when I saw this one for 50p, you know, I was pretty pleased. So yeah, please pick this one up, Roxy Music and Stranded. Now, there's an American band from the very early 70s, who when I really started to get into music, I sort of discovered September and Fantasy and Boogie Wonderland and Let's Groove Tonight. But they had a really successful career, you know, before I was aware of them in the early 70s. And it's this band, Earth, Wind and Fire. And it's Open Our Eyes. And I've been looking for early Earth, Wind and Fire, but it's not easy to pick up in the UK because, you know, I don't think they've sold many copies here. Very successful in America. I'd actually been on Amazon pricing up these early Earth, Wind and Fire albums. But to pick one up for 50 pence, I was really pleased. So yeah, picked this album up, and lo and behold, he had another Earth, Wind and Fire album for 50 pence, and it was Spirit. And this is a really good album. I think maybe a #1 in America. But just the Earth, Wind and Fire that I'm discovering from the early 70s, you know, everything but the kitchen sink's thrown at it, you know, it's like a fusion of funk and soul and disco, just great stuff. You know, I'm becoming more and more of an Earth, Wind and Fire fan, and I'm looking for more and more stuff by them. So yeah, really pleased to pick this up for 50 pence. Earth, Wind and Fire and Spirit. I mean, the condition of these records is probably just a little bit better than good, but you know, when you're getting stuff so cheap, you just got to bite the bullet and see what the condition's like when you actually play them, and they all play okay. So just 2 to go, and this album was £1. Chatting with a nice lady, and she had some albums in a bag, and I thought, you know, I'll have a look and see what you've got. And she had this album, James Taylor and Sweet Baby Jane. You know, and this sold by the bucket load in America. I'm not sure about in the UK. I'm aware of James Taylor. Fire and Rain is a great song, but you know, after playing this a couple of times, I'm not sure what all the fuss is about. Sort of those American singer-songwriters who were huge in the 70s, but in the UK, those sales weren't transferred over the Atlantic. You know, people like Linda Ronstadt and Joni Mitchell didn't really have hugely successful selling albums in the UK. But yeah, this is a bit of nothing for me. Maybe I'm missing something. I need to give it a few more spins. But yeah, pleased to pick it up for £1. And it's James Taylor. And finally, another band from the 1970s who, you know, pretty successful in the UK towards the end of the 70s. And it's the Commodores. Having a good time on the back there. And this is called Zoom. And this is from, I think it's from 76. And obviously it's on the Motown label. And I mean, this has got Easy on it, which is just a gorgeous song. And also Brick House. You know, when you're listening to it, it's very dominated, obviously, with Lionel Richie, and you know, he had such a hugely successful career in the 80s and 90s. But yeah, I mean, again, there's a few slower songs on this, but you know, when they get their instruments out, you know, they play some pretty good stuff. So it's not a bad buy for £1. So yeah, Commodores and Zoom. So I thought I needed to show those because I picked up quite a lot of records today from the record fair. So yeah, really pleased with what I picked up today, and I've got a lot of listening to do over the next week or so. So that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks to all my subscribers. Thanks for watching my videos. I really appreciate it, and any comments, I always get back to you. Okay, bye for now.